Hello anybody and welcome back to Let's Play Super Mario Bros. 2 on the All-Star Pack. I'm Mr. Devious, or just Deeb, and in the last episode, we cleared World 6, and this episode will be the finale in which we take on World 7, starting with Toad and going to the sky. Now you might notice right away that this world only has 2 levels, and there's a very good reason for that. And the main reason for that is, well, the second level in particular is massive, so at 3 levels, it would have been quite a while. We also got a house with a Phantom mask over there, I guess, a temple thing. Details like this weren't really afforded in the NES version of the game. All these background details were added in this SNES port, so that's a nice little touch. I always say that, always a nice little touch. Also coming over here, we'll notice a mushroom. The mushrooms are fairly easy to find in this level because there's only so many places they could fall. Now, we don't have to go this way. Going to the right is optional. If you can get up on an albatross, you can kind of skip this part of it, but it's really not that bad. Now, at the end of the last episode, that is a very, very Asian turnip. Combo! At the end of the last episode, I mentioned that also the interiors of buildings look different, and I'm not finding the... Well, I'm not going to use that. I'm going to refresh my plants so I can use those to get extra coins. Alright, and I will go into this house. And that gets us that. So we got our health and we got our money, so we are ready to go on with this level proper. Now, as I was saying before I kept stumbling over myself, is that at the end of the last episode, we cleared the desert, and the desert actually ended in the sky. So that was actually a fairly good transition. We want to come back over here and spawn an albatross, and we'll be riding to the left. And in that moment, then, I guess I will be talking about the stuff I was just talking about. So... end of World 6, you climb into the sky, you fight Tri-Clyde in a pyramid in the sky, and then you start a sky level. And I think for that, Mario 2 at least has very good transitions between its worlds. Better than a Mario 3, I would say, which just kind of randomly plops you in, you know, first you're in grassland, then you're in the desert, then you're at the ocean, and we have another rocket ship! Return of the rocket ship. I love these things. They're kind of an obscene way to travel from area to area, but it's a lot more fun than just outright climbing. But yeah, Mario 2, I believe, does do the transitions between worlds better. I mean, yeah, it does 3 levels that are just planes, but at the same time, it actually sort of meshes it well together. And I'm not gonna bash on Mario 3, I know better than that. I love Mario 3 and all of its worlds, well, most of its worlds, but the transitions are just kind of random. It's like, okay, first you are in, you know, grass, then desert, then ocean, then an island on the ocean. Actually, I guess that one works, but... okay, so I guess some of the transitions do work, but then suddenly you go from the sky to frozen land, and this is actually a really tough section to get around. If you're not me, anyway. I mean, if you're me... but seriously, you can't really hop here, because if you do, you'll land up on those higher areas. This is actually an alright area for Toad because he has small jumps, but even so, just him jumping will send him up high enough to elevate him onto a platform higher than what he's already standing on. And then these snippets just kind of make the matter worse. So, your best bet is to jump in front of him when you get an opportunity. But as I said before, the snippets don't really have a very easy to follow mechanism. Pattern. And Toad is dead. Because the snippets don't really have a set pattern of shooting, they can catch you off guard. Like, they might not shoot for 5 seconds, then they might shoot like 4 times in a row. It's not an easy time. Now, what I like about these sparks, these things are just called sparks, I thought they were called Sparkies, is that even though they look like invincible hazards, they're very much not. They can be killed, just like any other enemy, and you can save yourself a lot of trouble just by getting rid of them. So you can build yourself a ladder back up into the sky for what I believe is the last... well, not the last climbing, not the last vertical section in the game per se, but, you know. Now, as you'll see, the backgrounds, as I mentioned in that other room, they're much different than they were before. This is the last Green Birdo in the game, and they only give you 1 block with which to deal with her on a very tight platform. Not a lot of room to work with. But she's still not too hard. And it is worth mentioning that in the NES version of this game, when you went back to the left and to the right, she respawned. Not that that was really matter because you had to go through the mouth anyway, but you know, it's just a silly little detail. What the? Okay, that's weird. I have never seen that happen before. 3 coins, okay, that is a first for me. I don't know how that happened, but that was, oh, okay, I'm gonna have to Google that and see what the hell that actually was. Cool. I don't know if there were parameters for that or if that was just completely random. As I said, I've never seen it before. But we're just getting up lives for the final level in the game now. And I will just show off this last little bit, because now that that's our last lottery go, we're prepared for the final level of the game. 7 lives should be sufficient. As I said before earlier in this LP, I have played this game so many times when I was younger at a friend's house. It was very much a defining game of my childhood. And, well, because the All-Stars pack let you save from world to world, when we got to World 7, my friend and I, that was the world, this was like the world we probably played the most. With the most deaths, because this level is the longest level in the game and possibly the most difficult just for its length, and it's an endurance round. It is a giant palace, a very large level, with branching paths actually, and it is very hard. I'm not going to undercut that at all, but we played it so many times that it's... I think I can do it reasonably within the live range that they've... Oh, and I can do that. 6 lives. That's okay anyway. I prefer Luigi anyway. I mean... And I could get hit again. This is just sloppy performance. This is no way to start the final level. But I'm keeping it in this time. It's not like last episode where my first recording failed because of how many times I died. We got some bombs. We got some, you know, conveyor belts. Panzer down there. Now this is where the the level actually splits. Whereas other levels would probably do make you choose between like the actual level and a shortcut that would warp you to the end. There is no shortcut to the end here. There's just 2 paths, and we're gonna be taking the upper path. And be careful because, well, this thing. Or you could get on the chain and kill yourself. That works too. Right, we're over to Toad. Now the good news is that if you do have lives for this section of the game, the fact that you restart at the room that you died in is very handy, because most of the rooms in this area are very short. They're very short, if very challenging, so there are particular few rooms in general that will suck your lives away until you are dead. And I think I can clear this in 1 run. If I don't do that, it's okay though. Although this is kind of a long vertical section. But it's not too hard. However, we want to get up to that other chain because that leads us to a door. And with the super jump, we can clear them completely without any concern. And that'll bring us to a door, which should put us outside. Now, you don't really want to climb this ladder down. You want to just let yourself fall to the right, because there's a Panzer down there who will get you. And also a Tweezo, a Tweezer, yeah, Tweeter. I think they're just called Tweeters, actually. I say Tweezer because they're the enemy called Bezos, but we got a potion here. And this is 1 potion in this, this is just 1 of 2 potions in this entire level, like in any other level. Of course, what makes this level unique, that coin is worthless to us, is if you want, also that's a bomb! If you want to get the other mushroom, you have to go down the other path. And it's funny that I mentioned that. Well, it's not particularly funny, but I mentioned that because I'm going to be showing off the other path in this level, actually. This is a comprehensive Let's Play. I'm going to be showing it all off. You know what? I can make this easier on myself so much. There. And that takes care of that. Frickin' Panzers. I never, in all my years as a child, I never thought to do that before. I don't know why it just occurred to me to do that then, why I had to make things difficult on myself. Also, I like games that do this, that if they give you a hard-to-reach place, if you manage to get to the hard-to-reach place, getting out of it is easy. I'm also alright of a design of a similar idea, where an easy to get to place that's hard to get out of. Of course, now we have to get past all these sparks, but if we can get up on that chain, that takes care of that. So that actually brings us to the end of the first section of the game, not the first section, but I'm going to be getting up to where the paths will meet, and then I'm going to be going down to the beginning again. I'm going to be going to the beginning of the level so I can show off that other path. And then the paths meet, not in here. That's a good thing that egg didn't hit me. But the paths will meet in here. Yeah, basically, they will meet at this door. So I will meet you back at the beginning of the level. I gotta walk all the way there because I'm getting both hearts. So as it turns out, I am in fact a complete idiot. I tried to go through the other path, this path, in the reverse direction, but it turns out if you do that, you can't get all the way back to the beginning. So I had to go through the alternate direction twice. Through this room, I have to go through it twice and then back through the first path I took. And in the process, as you can see, everybody died. I mean, Toad died, and Peach died, and Mario died. And I am down to 3 lives now, including Luigi. So, if I get to Peach, Peach will be my last life. And if I die and game over, then I will have no choice but to restart World 7 from the very beginning. And I'm hoping that that's not going to happen. But this section is a lot different than the first section that we did. The rooms are generally different, but one thing I don't like about the final level is that it has an over-excessive use of... Oh, God. Or rather, I hope I don't fail you, to be more appropriately correct. But yeah, now I'm down to 2 lives, so I need to be careful. And it's just kind of silly that this is the room where I got stuck. I came through this door and realized I couldn't climb up there. So if you do want to get both mushrooms in this level, it is probably better to take the bottom path and then go on, and then when you get to the end, switch to the other path, and then from there you can try to get just to the door where the mushroom is. And speaking of mushrooms, that's not one, that's a bomb! That's the last bomb in the game. And I messed it up. However, hopefully this will have been worth it because with 4 hearts, we are ready to go and proceed to the end of this level. The alternate path is also interesting is that even though it had a big vertical drop, there's still a lot of climbing. So no matter what path you take, you're going to be climbing a lot. And there are a lot more cherries on the bottom path, interestingly enough. Now, one difference between this version of the game and the advanced version is that whenever you got a 5th cherry, a little chime would play to indicate that you had gotten it. And now we got the star, and we could clear out these friggin' sparks. Of course, it doesn't really matter because I think those are the last cherries in the game, and, well, it's not really an ideal room to use them in. And I went through the door twice. I didn't really mean to do that, but... steady as she goes. I suppose that doesn't make any sense. And no matter where you go, of course, you have sparks and vertical sections to deal with. Now this next room is actually pretty coolly designed in that it's all conveyor belts, a vertical shaft of conveyor belts. And I like this room, but it killed me several times when I was younger. And I know I say when I'm younger a lot, but it is true. Interesting thing about the Sparkies is the way that they maneuver on the conveyor belts. I think the idea is that the conveyor belts they had to take up like a full square tile, even though visually they only appear to be like a half tile, and Sparkies can only navigate around, oh boy, around the length of full tiles and not half tiles, which is interesting, but it kind of breaks things. And I like the illusion here that like that's an entire conveyor belt making circles around, and they could do that with just 2 lines. So that's a neat little touch. That's a neat little effect. Now we're almost at the part where the 2 sections meet, and we have a Birdo in our path. I will take out this Birdo just because it's actually safer. It's the safer method to take out this Birdo rather than try to get past it, but this Birdo is completely optional. There's no reason to fight it. There's no bonus to killing it other than ensuring that your path ahead is safe. And this is where the paths meet. However, we do have a few more Sparkies to get past. Going under is pretty much a guaranteed hit, so you want to jump over them. And that will bring you, of course, to this last door over here, which is fairly easy to get into. Oh god, but that conveyor belt will probably carry you into that Birdo if you're not careful. And as you can see above the Birdo, there is, you know, that guy who's been hounding us this entire game. It couldn't be a final level without a final key. And of course, I can't get... Whoa! This key, thankfully, is great at clearing out those Sparkies so you don't have to worry them. You don't have to carry the key far, and that will bring us to this door, to the final chamber in the game. Except, is it really the final chamber in the game? No, but I will be taking my mushroom blocks over here. And why am I going to do that? Well, there's no enemies in here, are there? Well, you'd be wrong. The mask, the Hawkmouth, comes to life and tries to kill you. I think if you stay down here, it can't actually hit you. Like, if you stay on the ground, it can't get low enough to conceivably hit you. So this enemy is only really dangerous if you stay in the air. And on that note, you hit it 3 times and its mouth opens. If you don't jump into its mouth in time, it will open again. I mean, it will close again and attack you again. But the music change and the background changes signal that we have come to the final chamber of the game. And here we have come to the chamber of the Great Wart! He's the final boss of the game. Wart is a big frog who is allergic to vegetables, and we have to choke him to death with vegetables. This is how you beat him. He shoots bubbles. These bubbles are very dangerous. Also, you can only hit Wart when his mouth is open. Like any other boss in the game, contact with him is damage, aside from Birdo. Birdo doesn't really count, but here we are, the final boss in the game with only 2 lives to spare. I hope that I can even maybe do this with Toad, because Toad is actually a really good guy to have against Wart. Him and Mario, because their jumps are so just quick and to the point, you're rarely in danger of jumping into his bubbles, which aren't too hard to avoid, but when you're also managing getting a vegetable into his mouth and just catching a vegetable, it can be hard. The main thing is not to get overzealous against this guy. If a vegetable touches a bubble, it will vanish, and sometimes he'll shoot his bubbles, arc his bubbles lower, so that is always something to look out for. I think he takes about 7 vegetables to kill, 5 or 7, maybe 6, that's a weird number, but we're getting some good hits in on him. I fought this guy so many times when I was younger, so I've got this down almost to an art form. And don't touch him, he can still kill you. That's the end of Wart. The end. Yep, that is the end. We beat the final boss. So let us see what is our reward. We freed not so evil fairies, things. These are the subcon. The contributor was Luigi. We beat the most levels as Luigi. Peach was 2nd, Toad was 4th, and Mario was only 3rd. How about that? And thus they carry off Wart to his... Oh god, what are they doing to him? And the subcon cheer for Mario and Luigi and Toad and Peach, who have saved their world. But Luigi is the best because he did the most levels. He finished the most levels and killed the most bosses. He's the best. The end. Of course, everybody remembers this part of the game. It was all a dream. It was all a dream. Mario 2 never really happened. You see, there were hints to this too, though. Subcon, subconscious. Mario heard of it in his dream. It makes sense, doesn't it? I guess. A bit of a cop-outy ending, but not really. I mean, the Mario series is mystical enough and magical enough that it can have its dream world, and it's not such a heavy game on plot that it really matters at all. I mean, were you really that offended when it would turn out to be a dream? Like, if this was a serious, heavy plot line that got you invested, sure, whatever, but for the magic of Mario, it works just fine. And here we have our cast of characters and not an actual credits. I don't think the All-Star Pack ever has, like, a proper credit reel that plays. In fact, I don't think any of the original Mario games have a credit reel that plays when you beat them. So that's peculiar. Hoop Star! It's not Hoopster, it's Hoop Star, and that makes even less sense. Pidgeot and Panzer and Flurry. So yeah, that was Mario Brothers 2 on the All-Star Pack. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it was fun to watch. It was fun to play. Around World 6, around World 7, it got a little hard. It got a little more difficult to actually add details, Pokey. And then here's the thing that they kept in the All-Star version is the mix-up Birdo and Ostro. They got the names wrong. Autobomb. And yeah, this was fun to play. It was kind of ran out of things to say towards like the 6th and 7th world because there's only so much stuff you can say, I think. Mauser, Fry Guy, Claw, Glip. More errors that they kept in even in the All-Star version. I can't even tell if that was intentional, but they fixed it. And of course, they saved the best for last, Wart. Or, well, the big bad for Wart. And he laughs! Because he might be making a return someday. And who knows? With Super Mario 3D World, like, on the way, and, like, Peach is a playable character. It has the cast from Super Mario Bros. 2 with their original abilities from Super Mario Bros. 2. And, well, if Peach is a playable character, then what's the story? Obviously, she can't be kidnapped. Maybe it'll be a return of Wart. I'm not dying to see Wart return, but it would be a cool change of the status quo. I would appreciate that. So yeah, that's basically all I have to say. Mario will sleep infinitely here until you push start. So that was Super Mario Bros. 2. I hope you enjoyed it. I'm not sure what... I will actually be making a bonus episode for this LP featuring the differences and specialties in Super Mario Bros. Advance, because why not? I think it could just be a fun little bonus episode. So yeah, that's Super Mario Bros. 2. It's different from the other Mario games in the original trilogy, but you know what? I think it's just as deserving of a place in the original 3 as Mario 1 or Mario 3. It brought us Shy Guys, Bob-ombs, and all of that stuff, and it's a fun, cohesive experience, all tied together with a good gameplay, good platforming, 4 different characters you can play with, just... all around, a good mechanic, throwing mechanic, good bosses, good level design, just good overall aesthetic. It's a great game, and it just gets too much crap that it doesn't deserve. But I think I'm going to leave it on that note, and I'm just going to leave that decision up to you, because I can't enforce my opinions on you. So, with that, I hope you enjoyed this LP, and I hope to see somebody in the next one. Bye-bye.